Hello YouTubers, the new Time Travel Jaime 88. I'm back with another Doctor Who DVD review. And yes, we're still celebrating Doctor Who's 50th anniversary. So today, I'm doing another third Doctor adventure. It is Doctor Who, The Mutants. The Mutants. I remember this story. It is one of another best John Pertwee Doctor Who stories ever. I love this episode. This 6-part adventure originally transmitted on April 8th through May 13th, 1972. Let's begin the plot. It is set in the year in the 30th century. The Earth Empire is contracting and plans are being made to decolonize the colony world of Solos. The militaristic marshal and other human soldiers known as overlords rule it from Skybase 1. The marshal opposed by decolonization plans to outline to him by administrators sent to Earth and is obsessed with eradicating the mutants or the mutes. The Mutts. They had sprung up on the planet below. The Solarians themselves are tribal people, spirit between those who actively oppose the occupants, such as Kai, and those like Varen who collaborate with the imperialists indeed. The Marshal and Varen ensure the administrator is murdered before he can confirm to Kai and other tribe chiefs that the Earth's empire is indeed withdrawn from Solos. The Doctor and Joel arrive on Skybase 1. Their TARDIS has been transported there by the Time Lords. They have the message, a box which only opened for indeed reticent. And that is not for the Marshal or his encourage, but it seems to be for Kyle, who has been framed for murder of the administrator. Joe and Kyle flee to the surface of Solos, which seem to be poisonous to humans during the daylight hours, and this affects Joe quite soon. Kyle saves her from a stolen oxygen mask. The Doctor learns from the Marshal and his chief scientist Jaeger that they are involved in experimental using rockets and birds to terraform Solos, making all breathable to humans. Regardless to the cost in indigenous life, they continue to bombard the surface with even more deadly rockets. Varen has been discovered by the Marshal's treachery, and events make him an outlaw on Skybase. The Doctor makes contact, and together they persuade Stubbs and Cotton, the most senior soldiers, to the Marshal that is much as wrong on Skybase. He then flees to Solos with Varen and the Talcyon mine where Kyle and Joe are hidden. He encountered many Mutts who was not as hostile as first appeared. The Doctor passed a message box to Kyle and it opened to reveal an ancient tablet and etching which are written in language of the old ones of the planet. Helping in another poisoning gas released by the Marshal is provided by the figure human scientist Chungar, who lives in a cage and knows much about Sonorian anthropology. Sundagar explains that he's trying to inform Earth Control about the Marshal's evil, but he was prevented and forced to flee to the cage. When the radiation seemed to have infected him, he's interrupted the contents of the box of the Lost Solos Book of Genesis, and the Doctor then calculates a Sonian year to be equivalated to about 2,000 human years, with the natural charge in the population every 500 years within the cycle investigation with more radiation part of the cave. The Doctor thus decides The mutant phase is a natural part of Solonian racial life cycle. Van Ren has now become a mutt himself. The transformation began with his hands, and he hides this leads a Solarian attack on the skybase, which results in his death, and those many of his warriors on skybase, Joe, Kai, Stubbs, and Cotton are recaptured by the Marshal, and Stubbs is killed in a failure to escape an attempt. The Doctor, meanwhile, has returned to skybase without the Sonderguard, who seems too weak following the radiation contamination. He instead returned to the caves to communicate with the mutants and explain their change in the metabolism are natural and not to be feared. The Doctor is now back on skybase. He has summoned the Marshal to be mad. It becomes clear that the Earth government has now dispatched an investigation to look into the into the strange events on Solos. The Marshal rocket attacks and have not been terraformed the planet, but they have left a hideous environment impacts he knows about. He must clear this up or face problem. Where the investigation arrived under the durance, the Doctor used Jaeger's technology to conduct rapid decontamination on the planet's surface. Investigator arrives and demands answers, giving more lies by the Marshal, support that the Doctor fears Joe will be killed. Luck if he does not cooperate. The investigator sees the truth situation on Solos and the crimes of the Marshal and Jagger. The Doctor accusing them of the most brutal and callous of serious crimes against defenseless people. It's even been my misfortune to encounter the Sonderguard now reach skybase with some mutants. One of them scared the investigator enough. He accepts the Marshal analyst the creature should be killed. Cal now began to process the mutation, but it accelerated beyond the mutant phase. He emerged as a radiant angel-like super being. He communicated through the transmission. The investigator now makes sense of the situation. The Sungard and Cotton elect to stay on Solos to see the other Solarians go through the mutation process, while the Joe and Doctor slips away. Their mission from the Time Lords complete. Great episode. I love this episode. Let's take a look over here. Here's some still pictures from the story. On the DVD extras, we have audio commentary by actors Katie Manning, Garrick Hayden, and director Christopher Barry, script editor Terrence Dix, and co-writer Bob Baker, sound supervisor Brian Hodgson, designer Jeremy Barr, moderated by Nicholas Pegg. Mult Mad, Race Against Time, Blue Peter, Dressing Doctor Who, James Atchison, Photo Gallery, PDF materials, and so forth. Here's Disc 1 for the Mutants, and Disc 2. Now, unfortunately, episodes 1 and 2 were originally made on a PAL color videotape, but after that episode, the 2 episodes were wiped. Then later, a black and white film versions of episodes 1 and 2 of the story. Until 1981, episodes 1 and 2 were recovered from a TV Ontario in Canada. Well, and that's it for this one. If you're looking for this episode, I recommend to get The Mutants. And that's it for this week's episode. And don't forget, the 200 video special is on the way. So make sure to rate, comment, and subscribe. And shout out goes to Melissa Rivera. Till next time, this is the new Time Travel Jaime 88 saying goodbye.